Welcome, everyone. Today is January 24th. This is John Tiamisha. This is Introduction to Circassian, A0 course. And we were just starting off with a little bit of conversation. And the question came up, how do you say wife or husband? And there are words for wife and husband. So the word for husband is just man. So for people who speak German, it's just like, ich habe einen Mann. I have a husband, I have a man, and there's no, it's fine to say that for a woman. A man could say sa fiz cs, but there's a view that if you call somebody fiz, it just means woman, but in normal speech, it kind of is like calling somebody an old woman, you know? So, you know, eventually if you're in your 50s or 60s, you're fiz. You know, there's some point, I'm not sure if it's 41 or 61, but if you're 70 or 80, you're definitely going to be a fizz. So because it's a show that the woman is older, we don't like to use the word fizz in everyday speech. So as a result of that, it's much more common in polite company to say shawasa, which means sha is head, wasa is companion. It's a companion of the mind, of the head. And it means spouse, but we use this instead of saying husband or wife. Okay, so do you have a spouse? And then, you know, it's if some young guy like you now, right, young guy, were to ask somebody like Ola, you know, it's like, oh, why are you asking me? Is it because you want to be my hawasa? You know, there's like that little connotation there. But, you know, some old fart like me, you know, married, 4 kids, pillar of the society, you know, Circassian teacher. If I ask a young woman, then it's kind of like, hey, you know, maybe I have a nephew or maybe even a son, and I'm just asking to be nice. You know, it's so if an older person asks you, it's like, oh, are you married? It's like that. But if a younger person asks you, hey, you married? Do you want to be married? You know, so that's kind of a cultural connotation. So let's do a little bit of warm up. No, I'm not going to give you guys any cheat sheets. I'll do a little bit of warm up here. So, Yanal.
Sajanti.
Wudawashit.
Sakharzanash widawshit.
Sorry, Sakharzanash. One noba sipsar.
Noba silajum.
Noba walajash.
Noba silajash.
Khatu wazralaja.
Say that again.
Khatu wazralaja.
Khatu wazralaja. Who do I work for?
С кем ты работаешь?
Who do I work with? How do I answer that? Like, what do I work? What company?
What do you do for a living? Yeah.
Oh. iPhone программистом.
iPhone программист. С какое-то предложением.
Make mortgage applications. Mortgage calculators.
С диапазон предложением СОС.
Diapason?
Isn't that how you say mortgage in Russian?
No. Ipoteka.
Ipoteka. Diapason. What's diapason?
Diapason is range.
Range. That's right. Yeah. That's not a common word for Russian. Okay. So ipoteka, diapason. Yes, correct. Punch, how much? Ahmed.
Sajanti.
What are you a programmist?
Да, са програмист.
С какой технологиям вахат?
С iPhone ки са програмист, website ки са програмист.
ويجري حراب كودو دجار؟ كودو. فيدا كود خط؟
فيدا ستي معنى؟
Profit.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
فيدا كود خط.
فيدا كود خط, yes.
فيدا كود. Технологиям فيدا كود خط.
Arpej.
Egypt's arpej. What технологиям وخط?
وخط س تكنولوجيام سخط Like,
Yeah. So khat means who, but
yeah,
khatin is also a verb. It means are you in? So we say are you in technology?
oh, like working in the field.
Working in the field. How? What technologium وخط قمرة.
حوا تكنولوجيام سختكم سختم.
وخط وزر العجرة.
س teachers. I forgot the word.
No. Sasa yagajakwash.
Sasa yagajakwash.
Whoa.
Yichi the linguist.
Yichi linguist. Abkhodu lejrawi grihra.
Do I like my jobs? I was going to say Kwadu. Is Kwadu okay? Kwadu sigurihra. No, Kwadu sigroh.
Kwadu wigroh.
Kwadu sigroh.
فددش خد قطش الثقور. Hola.
C'est gentil.
What technology مخت?
حوا c'est technologium c'est خدكم.
و أراشي و programmistكم. و linguist.
حوا c'est dental assistant لجاش.
سد the doctorum. The doctorum.
The
doctorum. يد أبوك over. Okay. The is teeth.
The
Doctor is doctor.
yeah.
The doctorum. Yeah. The apok.
The أقب.
The apok.
The أقب.
The apokau.
The أقبقوا.
Assistant.
What is that word for? Like, what does it mean?
The apok is help. Right. The apokau is helper or assistant.
Oh, right.
Sa the doctorum. Yeah. The apokau. Do you work as that or do you study as doing that?
No, I do healthcare management. I'm still at school.
Okay.
I work in a dental office.
Sa the doctorum.
Let's say I study. How do I say that? I'm a student.
Sa siya jakwash.
Yeah, sa siya jakwash.
Sa soja.
Sa soja. Nta.
Dano shejra.
Where?
Sit kwa the universitet mo shejra.
Which university? York University.
York Universitet.
Nta.
Abewi grihra.
Anta sigruh.
خوابجو حمرتك.
Quad sigruh.
خواد ويجروح. خونش بددش تحمي غبصو. ستناي.
انت داوشت درجاتي.
سخر زنش وشة داوشت.
دوا.
نشحبة تامبي داوشت.
دغوش.
تامبي دنشاء.
سي سبخم
We shubkhum dej?
dish.
We shubkhum dej. He's by your sister.
By my daughter.
Sipkhum.
Sipkhum dish.
Sipkhum dej. He's with my daughter.
Yeah.
Sa qosh siash. Sa qoshit siash. Sa qoshit siash. Zim abiyither ramzish. Zim abiyither tambish. Sari qosh siash tambish.
سيش حغوس يافا دخبز.
Mta? Wish hawsam yashraqabzu. Exactly the same. Dawa do name you should teacher Floridum dejnoba. Khwaba hamra sha'a.
شقة طق شقة.
Tauk sha'ash. Wa saqwa shibta ganoba. Saqwa. Jacket.
انت
Sako shiptara noba.
Not a heavy one.
Pasu.
What's that?
Sako pasu shistarash noba.
Sakwa pasho. Blah, blah,
Thin
blah.
jacket. Thin jacket. Thin jacket. Noba wala ja.
Hawa.
Wala jakum noba.
Silajakum.
Wasmaja hamar wawuzin shara.
How? How do I say I'm between jobs?
Sa, you could say sa yijri le jogos sotlokhwa.
Sel yajri la jarwas.
I'm still looking for a job.
Mhm.
Allah hamji am kapota finish. God willing, you'll be able
How
to.
we upset.
Upsawij. Zanshawa.
Who's up, Shijanti? That was shit.
Sakharzinash. Washa. Dawashat. Tamam. What dana washa Egyptsto?
San Francisco is the shash.
San Francisco washash. Abiwi grihra.
Nta, you asked me if I like it, right? Yeah. Nta seguro. How do you say seguro?
Siguro. Siguro. Wa لجغوئة حمرا universitetum ورا.
I do not know how to answer.
Tell me in English.
So I work not in university or anything.
Sasolaja.
Sasulaja, yeah.
Wachatu was relaja.
Egypt's to Solaja DoorDash.
DoorDash mushalaja. Wigri hara.
Shirkum. I don't know yet. Just kind of started.
Okay, khons.
So far, so good.
Sinochoch. Congratulations. Sinochoch. Rakan.
Sit.
What dawshit?
Dagwa, dawshit.
Sarisa dawos. What's it shar?
How do you say it? This.
Sasotus.
This.
I'm sitting.
Yeah.
I want to say what I say to my son sometimes. Are you sitting on your butt? You know? So what's it no babsha?
Solejash.
Silajash.
Lejash.
Dena was shalajra.
Where I work. Wait, I wrote that down. Harachat analyze.
Harachat analyze. Harachat analyze was shalajra. Wow. How much? أبخدو للجغة ويجري حرا.
سيجروح.
تك ويجري حرا. ده خنش. و universitetem وشجع. حوا. Universitetem زي وشجعكم.
Universiteit. Say it again.
Universitetem وشجع. Diplom ويا.
Is it, do I go now to university or?
Did you study at university? Bucha. Universitetem Bucha.
Bucha? What's Bucha?
Did you finish it?
Long time ago.
Quad shower. Whoopso.
So
Margarita.
Genti.
Dawshit.
Tamamsh. Upso. What dawshit?
Sorry, tamamsh. Do name you should teacher we dej just sit wada.
Say that again, please.
Do name you should teacher we dej sit wada.
Do name is the world?
Do name يشتتشر. دونيم يشتتشر, the condition of the world. دونيم يشتتشر, the weather. دونيم يشتتشر, وديجتشا, by you. ستخودا, how is it? How is the weather by you?
The name you should teacher. Sit weather. Awful.
A did this. Шнаwas.
Shanawash.
Ужасно. Shanawas.
Yeah, exactly what I meant to say.
وديجتشا نوبا شاء. حمرا خوابا.
Sha'ash.
شاءش. شاء ددا. حمرا شاء
Sha'adida.
شاء
Sha'adida.
انت دردي ديجتشا شاء ددش نوبا. دردي ديجتشا شاء ددش. وبسو. Sarah.
Sit, Janti. Sorry, my camera's not working today, but I'm here.
يا no problem.
So,
What thou was shit noba?
خرزنش داوشت.
Sorry, خرزنش. What dana was sha'a?
Sa Toronto sa shash.
Toronto, the name you should teacher, sit kwada.
The name, I'm not sure what that question was.
So I was just talking to Margarita about this. The name, the world, yishatichar, its condition. The name yishatichar, the weather. The name yishatichar, sit kwada, how is it?
Sa sha'adidash.
Sha'adidash. Daridi dejcha sha'adidash noba. It's cold by us too. Yeah. We've reached winter. All right, everybody feel good with the warm-up? Yeah? All right, so let's see where we're going. We've made a lot of progress. We're gonna switch around the way that we do stories in the class. You know, I see your 1 second. We're gonna switch around the way that we do stories in the class. What I've found, I'm doing these daily 30-minute lessons with my daughter. And what we're finding is that instead of doing characters, we just talk about family, right? And what's interesting about that is, first of all, when you talk to your family, they're gonna ask you questions. And if you meet somebody, they're gonna ask you about your family. That's how Circassian people are. But also, because we're talking about family, you don't have to remember the story. You know you have a mother, you know you have a father, you know what their names are, you know what they do for a living, right? So we're gonna go a little bit more with that because I think it's gonna make this a little bit more real and easier for us to digest. So that's just a little update. First, Yanal had a question, then we'll go to Zanshawa.
Right. How do you say here? So I know abday, I know, well, I don't know, but I've heard abday, I've heard madeh and dunay, which all sort of sound like they're part of the same group of words, but
Yeah.
how do you say here?
So, so you know better than I do. In Russian, there's a couple of words, right? And it kind of depends on how far it is and whether you're pointing is this tam, von, right? In Circassian, it's kind of like that. So mis is like here, mis, right? Then you can say mis, which is a little bit further away. Like you can see it and you can walk there. Then you can say mo, which is like further away. Then you can say moda, which is like very far away. And if it's really far away, you can say adda, adda, adda. Same as father, adda. So those are all ways. I'm not trying to overwhelm you, but I'm sure you've heard many of these. So it's just mis, mes, mo, moda, adda, right? So those are all different ways. But then you can also say abdij, okay? And abdij is, I'm guessing at the etymology, ab-yidij. So ab can mean him, her, or it. Ab can also mean over there, okay? So if I were to say I'm going to my brother's house. Abi, his, ye, his, abi, his, dej, vicinity. Dej is like vicinity. I can't think of an easier English word. Area. Abi dej, sokwa. Abdej, sokwa. So I think Abdej came out of Abiyadej. And then, you know, different people have different, like, for example, if I say Abdej, I grew up saying Abdej. My wife says, oh, what are you, like some villager person who's not sophisticated? Over there, you know, as opposed to in that direction, you know. So there's, you know, it's very minor, but those are off the top of my head, all the ways I can think of to say there.
That kind of makes sense because I've often heard like come here, akum day, which I guess would mean like come into my vicinity.
So this is a very, say that again for me.
Akum day.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. It's very common for my own first cousins do this. It's very common in the diaspora, although you're not diaspora. Well, you are now, but it's very common in the diaspora. I've heard this many times for adults to grow up with kind of baby pronunciation. I have never changed my pronunciation in any of the languages I speak to any of my children. But for some reason, native Circassian speakers, they'll say, instead of saying aqua, they'll say aqua, aqua. It's almost like a little baby talk. And as a result of this, because so many diaspora children grow up isolated where only their parents are the native speakers and their siblings, they grow up as adults saying aquasidij. So imagine you're like a 35-year-old big Olympic guy. You're like, and you call your mom mommy.
Yeah.
Because that's all you've heard your whole life, right? So aqua is the verb. Aquan, aqua, come to me. Aqua, mibdij. Mibdij, over here.
Yeah.
Mibdij. Aqua mibdij.
Aqua mibdij.
Or if you want to be like command form, mibdijim aquat, get here right now. Mibdijim aquat.
It's the T at the end that lets you know that they're serious.
When you add a T at the end, it's in command form. So it doesn't have to be bad, but it means it's in command form. So my son and I sit it. Like we sit, what is it that you want? You know, sit, what? And then I look at him, what? Like, what do you want? Then he says back to me, sit it. What? It's like, come on, tell me what you want.
Yeah.
So George had a question, then we'll go to Ahmed. George.
Sir, question si akam. It's Ahmed.
Oh, I thought
Ahmedash question Yeash.
Sorry.
I thought it was in Shao. I had a question.
Yeah, I think it was in Shao.
Oh, I'm sorry. Zanshao. I'm sorry. So Zanshawa has a question. Then Ahmed.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering. So the Dune, yes, a teacher, sitweda, is that like a common way to say like how's the weather?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's interesting because even many native speakers from the Caucasus don't know how to say that. They'll say prognoz noba sitweda or pagoda noba sitweda. They'll use the Russian loan word for the forecast, the weather forecast, or the word for weather. So the name, but if you're speaking clean Circassian, trying to minimize any sort of loan words, du name yishatitcher, du name the world. Ye, it's. So Dune is world, it comes from Arabic. Du name the world using this grammatical structure. Du name ye, it's. Shatitcha is condition. Du name yishatitcher sitwada. Du name yishatitcher sitwada. What's the weather?
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
My question dovetails on Inal's question about here. So is it okay to say aqua mo when I'm trying to call my kid over?
Yeah, but that's a little rough.
Is it? Okay.
It's a little
Aggressive?
sounds to me a little rough.
Hmm.
Kakwa mo is like you're pissed off, right? So when I see my kids, what I say, first of all, I almost always call my kids Sipsa.
Okay.
Sipsa, my soul, my soul. Anytime, Baba sit Sipsa, what my soul, right? And if I ever want them to come by me, si dejta kakwa, si dejta kakwa, kakwa si dej, kakwa si dej, kakwa si dej, come to me, come by me, kakwa si dej. That's a very sweet, very kind, very gentle way to say it. I say that to my wife too. Kakwa si dej.
All right. I'll adopt that one instead of the Kakwa that I heard.
Kakwa is like, yeah, I don't really yell. I'm not a yeller in the family, but I think if I were angry and somebody were in trouble, that's what I would say.
Gotcha. Okay.
Kakwa.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sara, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what's the other way to ask how the weather is other than the one we learned today?
You would use a Russian loan word. So you could say,
okay.
Погода сегодня. Погода нового года.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Какая погода сегодня? Any other questions? All right. So let's play around. Let's make sure we feel comfortable with these verbs, and then we're going to continue on. Okay. So we've gone through this whole sopsasha, right? We all feel comfortable with sopsasha. We started to play with this other verb, sahwish, wuhwish, harwish, right? I think we've done a lot of that stuff. So let's just play with this verbs for a little bit, and then we're going to go on and we're going to make sure we've solidified all of this knowledge, and then we're going to move on to today. We're going to solidify one verb and start a new one. We'll see where we go. By the way, Sada, do you still have a question?
Oh, no, sorry. I forgot.
No worries. No worries. So who's going to be my first victim today? I mean, first example. Ahmed, Aquamo.
Sit Janti.
وحرب بزجاوب سلفرة.
انت صح هذا ببزة سلف.
ويانر حرب بزجا بساثرة.
هاري حرب بزة مبساثرة.
وأدي بزجا وبساثرة.
انت سا أدي بزة سلف.
وكيتاي بزجا وبسلنا وخوي.
حوا كيتاي بزة سبسلنا وسخويقم.
وأخشى كود وخوي.
حوا سا أخشى كود سخويقم.
ست وزخوير. وست وخوي.
سا وقت كود سخويس.
وقت كود وخويس.
وقت كود سخويس.
He wants lots of time. Lots of time. Time to do things. Time to do things. Yeah.
More time.
Time. Yinal.
Sajanti.
وقت كود ويئة.
ست قد.
وقت. زمان.
What is zaman?
Время.
Oh. Okay, so what was the question again?
Well, let's use zaman because it's closer to Arabic and it'll be easier for people to remember. zaman وخوي.
انت زمان سخويش.
زمان كود ويئة.
Egypt stew?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Well, how do you say well, nta, I guess, right?
Nta. Or you want to say, actually, we don't really have sure.
Is there like more lax way of saying it?
Yeah, you could say dawich. Dawich is like конечно. Да, конечно. We don't really say sure, right? So dawich. So the question was, zaman wi'a. Do you have time?
Nta zaman si'a.
Zaman وخوي.
Quad zaman سخوي.
What zaman وخويش. وكيتا يبزتش وبساثرة.
How كيتا يبزتش سبساثرقم.
وخوي كيتا يبزتش وبساثلنو.
Nta كتيب زتشا سبسات لسخوي.
Ola, whoopsa we'a. Whoopsa, question. Whoopsa we'a.
Nta, what was كتيب زتشا?
Chinese.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So which? Ola,
Sit.
what was insha?
What was insha?
What was insha? Was insha we'a.
What is insha?
Wahwe COVID hammer was insha.
Zinshawa wea. Sia.
Was insha.
Was
Who can-
inshaga sia.
Who can
Health?
tell Ola what's was insha?
Good health.
Health.
Good.
Was insha. What? COVID wahwe.
COVID was سخويقم.
Sari COVID سخويقم. Sari
Okay.
COVID. Sa COVID si ash. سخويجقم afatcha. I don't want it anymore. I had COVID. I don't want it anymore.
Sari, me too.
What do we at?
Yes.
Allaham yishik urcha وخجاش. Thank God you got better.
Yes.
Wahwe adi gabzacha web satanur.
If I can speak at the Gabsaja?
Wa wahwe web satano adi gabzacha.
And thus at the Gabsaja Sahwish.
Sep satano.
Sahwish.
Sari sahwish sep satano. Wahwe harapibzacha web satano.
And thus Sari Harabibsaja Sathanu Sahwish.
Wopsatafra harapibzacha.
And the quad.
Quad.
Sataf.
Wopsataf. What tamamsh? Wopso.
Wapsawish.
Satanai.
Nta.
Wari harapibzacha wopsatara.
Nta sa harapibzacha sibsathaf.
Wigri harapibzacha websatano.
Nta sigruh.
Wahwe adigabzacha websatano.
Nta sa adiabzacha sibsathano sihwe.
Websatano wahwe shadigabzacha. Sit yajiri wahwe.
Sa
Akhsha kwad wahwe.
nta.
Anta.
Harm.
Sitarama. Khonus.
Khat khweqam
Khat
aksha.
muhwer. Khat muhwer.
Khat muhwer.
Who doesn't want money, right? Khat muhwer akhsha. Who doesn't want money? Wa wuhwe akhsha hamra zaman. Zaman. Yeah. Woa ush. You're wise. Woa ush.
Zamiza.
Zamiza. Zanshawa.
Sit, Janti.
Wa akhsha kwadwi'a.
Do I have a lot of money? Not really, but not little. I don't know. In the middle.
Akhsha kwadwuhwe.
That's what I would say.
I didn't hear the response. Akhsha kwadwuhwe.
Sa akhsha. I don't know. I guess I would say sa akhsha kwed si akam.
We akam awa qazguru ash. I understood. We akam awa wuhwe. Wuhwe.
Nta sa akhsha kwed sihwe.
Akhsha kwed wuhwesh. Wuhwe akhsha kwed hamra wazinshaga.
Wazinshaga.
Sari wazinshaga sihwesh. Sari wazinshaga wuhwesh. Wa adigabzacha وبساحرة.
سأدقبزيتشا توك سوبساحلة.
وأدقبزيتشا كودو وبسخنو وخوي.
انت سأدقبزيتشا ساحلانو كويد ساحلانو سوي.
فددة. Excellent. فددة. وبسو زنشاوا. You guys are all doing phenomenal, by the way. All of you doing phenomenal. A+ across the board. George, did I speak to you? Did we do this with you?
How? Not yet. Not this exercise. No.
What was in Shara?
She was in Shara. Oh wait, no, sorry. Let me start over. Was in Shara Siash. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
I don't know in Circassian if you guys say that, but yeah.
We do. Yeah, we do.
Okay.
All the time.
Okay. Okay. So yeah.
وأدقبزيتشا وبساحرة.
انت سأدقبزيتشا سوبساشف.
وبساحرة.
يجي سوبساشف.
وكودو وبساحرة. حمرتك وبساحرة.
توك سوبساشف. أوا كودو سيبساشنو سخويش.
راشنو وبشنوت. That's what I was going to ask you. وكودو وبساحنو وخويش.
Exactly.
أردداش.
أردداش.
اللحم جيم. اللحم God, if God says, or God willing. اللحم جيم ما هو غور one day فددو وبسلفنوش. You'll be able to speak very well.
Oh, وبسو جانتي.
وبسوج. ركان.
ست
وخوي. G5 قحلاتة طيارة. G5 طيارة. حمرة فيرتولوت. Helicopter.
فيرتولوت سيخويش.
فيرتولوت وخوي. ست حطرة.
No reason. Just like it more.
عاوزتمي سخويش. خونشتا. وأدقبزيتشا وبساحرة.
سأدقبزيتشا تاكو سوبساشف.
أدقبزيتشا تاكو بساشف. حرببزيتشا وبساشفرة.
انت سحرببزيتشا سبساشف.
لجغوية. لجغة job. لجغوية.
انت لجغة سياش.
لجغة نغش. A different job. لجغة نغش وخوي.
حوا. How do you say another job?
لجغة نغش.
لجغة نغوش سيخويقم.
يجبستو أدقبزيتشا تاك حمر كود وبساحرة.
يجبسو أدقبزيتشا تاك سبساشف.
وخوي أدقبزيتشا كودو وبسخنو.
سيخويش.
ساري سخويش أبخدو. ساري سخويش. وبسو. مارغريتا.
سجنتي.
NYU يدبلومر وخوي.
انت NYU دبلومر سخويش.
وي أقم أو وخويش. سا NYU دبلوم CH. وأدقبزيتشا وبساحرة.
انت سأدقبزيتشا تاك سوبساحرة.
وخوي أدقبزيتشا كودو وبسخنو.
انت سيخويش أدقبزيتشا كودو سبسلنو.
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 وخوي ويانم أديجابزتشا ويبسلنو.
نتا سيخوش سيانم أديجابزتشا سبسلنو.
اللحم جيم ما هو ور ويبسلفنوش. بسوج. سارة.
تجانتي.
وست وخوي.
زنشاغة سخوي.
وزنشاغة وخويش. وزنشاغة ويا.
نصف وزنشاغة سيئة.
وزنشاغة وياش. آوة وخويش. أرى.
انت.
وزنشاغة وياش أو وزنشاغة وخويش أبقيتشر. That means وزنشاغة ونبسيش. You're greedy for health. وأديجابزتشا وبساخرة.
انت أديجابزتشا سبسلف.
وبسلف. وخوي أديجابزتشا كودو وبسلنو.
هو أديجابزتشا تق سبسلنو.
أوخوي كودو وبسلنو. انت صاري سخوي شبهدو وبسو. Ola.
Can you remind me what Alhamji means?
Alih is God, Allah. Alih. Aliham, the God. That's just the grammatical case we put it into. Aliham. Ji'an. Ji'an is to say. Ji'am, if he says. Aliham ji'am, if God says. Inshallah. That's how we say inshallah.
Okay. Whoopso.
All right. So I think we're comfortable with this. We're going to move on a little bit. So, class.
Sibjanti.
Shaler yijibsto mapsacha. Shaler yijibsto mapsacha. Sari yijibsto sopsacha. George, Ahmed, Satanai, yijibsto psacharqam. Yijibsto psacharqam. Yijibsto psacharqam. Class. Sa sitemdeji. Sitemdeji sopsacha. Sa sapsacharesh. Psacharesh. Remember what's psachere?
Talkative.
Talkative. Someone who's very talkative. Sa sapsacharesh. Sa sitemdeji sopsacha. Sitemdeji sopsacha. Awa mushaler. Mushaler. Zazamiza mapsacha. Yijibsto mapsacha. Yichi zazamiza mapsacha. Zazamiza mapsacha. Itana yemiz. Then yemiz. Yemiz di also. Hawa. Yemiz di wasaqam. Awa yemiz quadra. Quadra mapsacha. Yemiz quadra mapsacha. Quadra mapsacha. Inal.
Sibjanti.
Khat yijibsto psachra.
Sari wari dizapsasha.
Wari sari dizapsasha. Wa sitemdeji wapsachra.
How was sitemdeji sibsashakum?
Sit shogol wapsachra. Sit shogol.
When asked.
Ma bimshish zaqakach.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, I got distracted. I had to do something. Zizamiza sibsasha.
Wa zazamiza wapsachra. Sitemdeji sopsachra. Awa. Wa zazamiza wapsachra.
Inta harpaj.
Paj. Ahmed yijibsto psachra.
How Ahmed yijibsto mabsatlakum.
Psachrakum yijibsto. Ahmed ستم ديجي بساثرة
شرقم
أبي وبش وأبي وبش
أحمد وستم ديجي وبساعتله
س كوادرا سوبساتا
كوادر وبساثرة
انت س كوادرا سوبساتا
ست كوادر بزمجة
س ينجليزي بزجا كوادرا سوبساتا
وززمزة حرب بزجة وبساثرة
انت س ززمزة حرب بزجا سوبساتا
وستم ديجي كيتا يبزجة وبساثرة
حوا س كتايب زمجا سبساتا قم
جورج كوادرة حرب بزجة بساثرة
صارقم جورج
أبي وبش
جورج و حرب بزجا كوادرا وبساتا
اها انت ساحة ببزج سبساشا
وكوادرة وبساثرة حمرا ستم ديجي وبساثرة
كوادرا
كوادرة وززمزة كيتا يبزج وبساثرة
اها كوادرا سا كتايب زج ري كوادرا سبساشا
وكيتا يبزج كوادرة وبساثرة
اها انت
ويجري حرا كيتا يبزج وبساثرة
كوادو سيغروخ
خد يجب ستوب ساثرة
يجبستو شعالر مبساشا يجي سري سبساشا
سري سبساثرة
انت سبساشا
انت اولا يجب ستوب ساثرة
هوا اولا يجبستو بساشا قم
هاج يجب ستوب ساثرة اولا ستم ديجي بساثرة
هوا زازمزة بساشا قم زازمزة مبساشا
سش أرقم وريبش أرقم اولا يوبش وأولا يوبش
اولا و ستم ديجي وبساشرة حمرا كوادرا حمرا زي حمرا زازمزة وبساشرة
Sa sitem diegi subsatercum. Sa zazamiza subsata.
سري زازمزة سبساشا حلمات
وأولا ززمزة حرب بزجة وبساثرة
أرقام أولا وحرب بزج كوادرا وبساشرة حمرا ستم ديجي وبساشرة
Arabibsaja quadra subsata.
أها
أولا ويجري حرب بزجة وبساثرة
Sigruh ta.
ويجبستو حرب بزجة وبساثرة
Yijibstu harabibsaja subsatercum. Adigabsaja subsala.
أدي جبزج وبساثرة ده بج سا ززمزة سبساثرة
Like in general?
سا
Oh, sa. Sharqum.
سا جساش I said سا ستم ديجي سبساثرة سا ستم ديجي سبساثرة سا سبساثرة إيش
Anta.
سا سبساثرة إيش سا سبساثرة إيش
Was sitemdeji wupsata.
بج أولا
Sit.
ستناي بساثرة
Yijibstu satanai psatercum.
يجبستو بساثركم بج أوا ستناي بساثرة
Sharqum.
أبي وبش
Abi whoops. Okay, satanai.
انت
How do you ask the question again?
ووب ساثرة
Whoops, Saturday, satanai.
س ززمزة ساشري.
وززمزة وبساثريش. هلا ماتش وكوادرا حرببزتشا وبساثرة.
انت سا كوادرا حرببزتشا يتشي انجليز زبج زبساثر.
ويبخم يتسرست.
My daughters. سبخويت سي
بخويت بخويت ياتسخرست.
سيلين يتشي دانييلا.
سيلينرا دانييلرا بساثريخا.
سيلين دانييلا كوادرا حنجلي زبجتشا.
كوادرا ينجلبزتشا مبساثة.
كوادرا ينجل زبجتشا مبساثة.
ويبخيتخر زازمزة حرببزتشا بساثرة.
انت
زازمزة وري زازمزة كتايبزتشا وبساثرة.
حوا سا كتايبزتشا شارقم.
بشارقم. صاري شارقم. ستناي زنشاوة بساثري.
شارقم زنشاوة.
Sit.
وو بساثريش.
Says is what? Damn, would it be Lere?
Your internet's cutting in and out.
How would I put the last, like, still? Can you?
It's coming and going.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Would I conjugate the last part? So would I say like zizimiza so sap like sap laresh?
Yeah, you can say that. Sa zazamiza sipsatharesh.
Okay. What would like you like usually say though? Like you,
I think if you're a talker or you're not a talker, just like in English. I think some people will say sometimes I'm a talker. Some people say I'm not a talker or I am a talker.
Well, I mean, like if I was like saying like you were, would I say what like how would that work? Like if I was saying he was a talker or you were a talker.
Yeah. So how do you say Zenshawa? How do you say I, speaking as yourself, how do you say I am Circassian?
Sase adiga.
Sasa adigas. And now I want you to tell me that I, Jonty, that I am Circassian.
Wawadigash.
Okay. So using that same structure, now tell me that I am a talker.
So it would be where?
Wawupsatharish.
Wupsatharish.
Wawupsatharish.
Wawupsatharish.
And then if you were telling me, or if I was telling you, I am a talker, sa sipsatharish.
Okay. Okay. So says is miza sipsatharish.
Sa zazamiza sipsatharish.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The internet's cutting in and out. I was just repeating.
Okay.
Rakan.
Sit.
و ستمديجي حرف ببزتشا وبساثرة.
طه ستمديجي حرف ببزتش سبساشة.
ستمديجي. يجيب ستو وبساثرة حرف ببزتشا.
حوا
قصغبتاش. You lied to me.
يجيب ستو أديقاب بزتش سبساشة.
وبساثرة.
Hawa.
Sacharekum.
Yeah, you told us never is ze.
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 Ze. Mhm.
Yeah. Sa ze subsasha. Subsasha.
Sa ze subsacharekum. I never speak. I never speak.
Oh,
Okay.
never. Okay. Sa ze subsasharekum.
Ze subsacharekum. What? Quadra kitayib zachawa psachara.
Hawa. Sa ze kitayib zacha subsasharekum.
Sari ze kitayib zacha subsacharekum. Si ja was a khunchi, unfortunately. So, there's no word that would be listener. You know, you can say somebody's a real talker. Yiddat ware doesn't. I mean, yiddat one is somebody who listens. Yiddat one is to listen. But it would be weird to say yiddat ware. We just wouldn't say that. So, Margarita.
C'est gentil.
What psachare?
Ce subsatlerikum.
What quadra psachara? Hamra zazamiza.
Ce zazamiza subsatl.
What quadra yinjilibzicha psachara?
Nda se quadra injilibzicha subsatl.
We bzur yijibsto psachara.
Si yijibstu sitem deji psatla ma psatla.
Ma psachara. We bzoom yitzarsit.
Si bzoom yitzer shogi.
Sitet?
Shogi.
Shogi. Shogi wuris. Adiga. American.
Shogi adiga.
Shogi adigas. Wow. Adiga bzicha psachara.
Hawa bza.
Mabzarabza. Mabzarabza. Shogi sitemdeji mabzarabza.
Shogi sitemdeji mabzarabza mabsatla.
Sitemdeji mabzarabza. Rashi, therefore, shogi psatlaresh.
Shogi psatlaresh.
Quadus iguapa huas shogi shislawum. It's very nice for me to see shogi. Upso. Sara.
Chanti.
Shogi psatlere.
Nta shogi psatlere.
Shogi dacha.
Nta dacha.
Yeah. Dacha hamra e.
What's that? What's hamra e? Like
Hamra is or, a is like terrible.
Oh no.
Hawa. Shogi tsuk. Hamra yin.
Shogi tsuk.
Shogi tsuk. What psathere, Sara?
Hawa. Sasa psatlerekum.
Sasa psathere.
Nta. Wawa psatleresh.
Sasa tamdeji subsasha. Araka. Wa zazamiza harapibza chawa psathere.
Ta. Actually, no, sorry. Hawa. Sa harapibza quadra.
Quadra wopsasha. Zazamiza adigabza chawa psathere.
Nta. Zazamiza adigabza subsatla.
Wukwe shogi yijibsto waraji ano.
Do I want to?
Do you want shogi to sing?
Oh yes, please. That would be amazing.
We're not going to put shogi on the spot. So people are feeling comfortable. Sitemdeji, zazamiza, quadra. We're feeling okay with these words?
Да.
Okay. We're going to build on this, right? As we keep going through this stuff, we're going to build on this. And we know this fourth word, ze. Ze. This word, my daughter uses this all the time with me. Baba, ze, 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 ze. We're never going to play together again. She tells that to me all the time. Then 2 seconds later, Baba, kako si dish? Come by me, Baba. There's a jagunsh. We're going to dance. We're going to play. Okay, we went through this one. So now let's play with this a little bit. Okay. Yinal.
Саджанти.
What сыбзыча? Даук упсалъра.
Ток сыпсалъэ урысыбзычэ.
Даук хамара кваду.
Квадри.
Кваду.
Кваддри.
What тамаму упсалъра?
Та. Урысыбзычэ?
Да.
Та. Са сэрысыбзы. Вау. Са урысыбзычэ фаддри сыпсалъэ.
Са тамаму сыпсалъэфра урысыбзыча?
Тамамри энта.
уи гугъэр тамам?
Урысыбзычэ тамамри упсалъэ.
Си гугъымкӏэ сэ тӏэкӏу сопсалъэ. Сэ тӏэкӏу сопсалъэф урысыбзычӏэ. Уэ псынщӏэу инджылыбзычӏэ уэ псалъэрэ?
Сыпсынщӏэу инджылыбзычӏэ сыпсалъэф. Сыпсалъэфэн. No, сыпсалъэф.
Уэ псалъэф.
I can't speak.
Уэ хуэму адыгэбзычӏэ уэ псалъэфрэ?
Та сэ хъумэу адыгэбзычӏэ сыпсалъэф.
Сыт щыгъуэ уэ псалъэрэ? Сытым дежи, зэзэмызэ, куэдрэ?
Сыт хуэдэ бзэджи?
Адыгэбзычӏэ.
Адыгэбзычӏэ. Сэ адыгэбзычӏэ зэзэмызэ сыпсалъэфэ. Щыгъуэ сэ си унэм сыщыӏэщ.
Гурыӏугъуэщ. Understood. Гурыӏугъуэщ. George.
Саджанти.
Уэ тэмэму хьэрыпыбзычӏэ уэ псалъэфрэ?
Нтӏэ. Сэ тамаму хьэрыпыбзэкӏэ сопсалъэф.
Уэ сытым дежи тэмэму хьэрыпыбзычӏэ уэ псалъэрэ?
Сетемдежи. Most of quadra most of the time. Quadra. Yeah, it's not my strongest language, but yeah, I do.
Хьэрыпыбзычӏэ ущыпсалъэкӏэ псынщӏэу уэ псалъэрэ? Хьэмрэтэм хуэму уэ псалъэрэ?
So tamu and psish. What was the other word you said? Psish.
Псынщӏэу уэ
Oh.
псалъэрэ?
Oh, okay.
Хуэму уэ псалъэрэ?
Psinch. Oh. Сэ хьэрыпыбзэкӏэ псынщӏэу сопсалъэ.
Псынщӏэу уэ псалъэрэ? Уэ адыгэбзычӏэ псынщӏэу уэ псалъэрэ?
Иджыпсту нтӏэ. Ауэ зэзэмызэ хьэуэ.
Зэзэмызэ хьэуэ. Къызгурыӏащ. Ахьмэд.
Саджанти.
Тэмэму, хуэму зыгуэр къыжаӏэ адыгэбзэкӏэ?
Тэмэму хуэму. Сэ хьэрыпыбзэкӏэ тэмэму сопсалъэ.
Уэ хьэрыпыбзычӏэ ущыпсалъэкӏэ псынщӏэу уэ псалъэрэ? Хьэмэрэ хуэму уэ псалъэрэ?
Сэ зауэрэ хуэму сопсалъэ.
Зауэрэ хуэму уэ псалъэрэ? Уэ тэмэму жыпӏэ? Тэмэму уэ псалъэрэ?
Тэмэму сопсалъэ.
Уэ тэмэму сытым дежи хьэрыпыбзычӏэ уэ псалъэрэ?
So you're asking me, do I always speak perfect Arabic?
Proper.
How? Zawara. How do you say colloquial or slang Arabic? Bzaja.
Rogum zarja'ar.
Yeah. Rogum zarja'ar. Harpabzicha subsasha.
What? Oh, Kitayib zajawab satra.
حوا كتايب زج سبسلفكم.
Wopsalafkum. Orosh, wopso. Ola.
Sid Janti.
Wa harapibzacha wishapsacha. Tamamu wopsatra.
Anta sa harbibsija tamamu subsatha.
Wa quadra tamamu wopsatra. Harapibzacha.
Anta quadra tamamu.
Wa sitandeji tamamu adigabzacha wopsatra.
Hawa. Sa adigab sazamiza adigabsija tamamu subsatha.
Tamamu sasidejcha, as I see it, sasidejcha. What's the tandeji tamamu wopsatra adigabzacha?
Oh, thank you. Hope so.
Wopso. Wa yinjalibzacha wishapsacha. Wishapsacha when you speak. Wa yinjalibzacha wishapsacha. Psinchu wopsatra. Hamra huamu wopsatra.
Sorry, I just have a question. So do I have to put that in the answer when I answer back? Like whoops.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay. Sa yinjanibsija anta yinjanibsija psinchu so psataf.
You're able to speak. Tamam.
Yeah.
Tamam. Whoopso. Satanai.
Nta?
Sayijibsto harapibzacha psinchu subsatra.
شأرقم وسنشو بساثة.
Hawa sayijibsto adigabzacha huamu subsatra. Arguru. I'll ask you again. Arguru once again. Sa yijibsto harapibzacha psinchu subsatra. Yijibsto.
حوا ويجبستو أدياب زتشا بسنشو بساثة.
Psinchu hamra huamu.
بسنشو
Psinchu huemen da psinchu subsatra.
For me, it's essential.
Hunch. Nahuamu sepselano sharami. Arami, if that's the case, arami, nahuamu sepselanos. Paswarao. Pardon me. Paswarao. What tamamu harpibzacha wupsatra?
انت سا تمامو حرب بزتشا سبساثة.
Wa sitimdeji psinchu yinjalibzacha wupsatra?
خمو ققرا. Could you say it again slowly?
Wa sitimdeji yinjalibzacha psinchu wupsatra?
انت سا ينجلب زتشا
Psinchu
شو سبساثة.
wupsatra. Wupsatra.
زمزة.
Zazamiza. We pwitcher psinchu psatra.
What is
Pwit, your daughters.
بسنشو دد.
Psinchu psatra.
بسنشو بساثر.
Acher harapibzacha psatra.
انت زمزة.
Zazamiza. Acher harapibzacha shpsatra. Psinchu hamarhuamu psatra.
آخر خوامو حرب بزتشا يوبساثة.
Yopsatra. Yeah, you did it. You did it really well.
Trying.
Really well. Zanshawa.
Sit, Janti.
Wohwe adigabzacha tamamu websalano.
Da سأدقبزيتشا تمامو سخلانو سخوي.
بسلنو وخويش تمامو. تمامو
Did I
وبساثرة.
answer you correct?
You did. You did.
Okay.
You did. تمامو وبساثرة.
نادقبزا?
طب.
Wait, say it again, please.
وأدقبزتشا تمامو وبساثرة.
خوا سأدقبزيتشا. Would you say tamamukam? Is that like a thing? Is that
The better way to say it is سأدقبزتشا تمامو سبساثرقم.
okay. سأدقبزيتشا تمامو سبساثرقم.
Arashi, therefore, وأدقبزتشا وبسلنو وخويش تمامو وبسلنو وخويش عوا يجبستو أدقبزتشا تمامو وبساثرقم. قبقروها. Did you understand?
How do you say understand again?
قزقروواش.
قزقروواش.
قزقروواش. قزقروواش. وبسو. وبسو. ركان.
ست.
وحرف بزتشا وبساثرة.
يجبستو حوا.
كوادر وبساثرة حرف بزتشا.
انطه كوادرا حرف بزتش سبساثر.
وتمامو حرف بزتشا وبساثرة.
تمامو حرف بزتش سبساثر.
وحرف بزتشا وشبساثرة. بسنتشو حمر خوامو وبساثرة.
حرف بزتش بسنشو سبساثر.
تمامو وبساثرة.
تمامو. حرف بزتش تمامو سبساثر.
أدقبزتشا تمامو وبساثرة.
حوا سأدقبزتش تكو سبساثر.
وأدقبزتشا تحق وبساثرة. ورقوغش. وبسو. وبسو.
سوج.
مارغريتا.
سجنتي.
شوقي بسنسو حمر خوامو بساثرة.
شودي بسنشو ما بساثة.
بسنشو ما بساثة. وأدقبزتشا وشبساثتشا. بسنسو حمر خوامو وبساثرة.
I don't recognize that verb tense.
So shibsathacha when you speak. وأدقبزتشا وشبساثتشا. بسنسو حمر خوامو وبساثرة.
Okay. سأدقبزتشا سشبساثتشا. خوامو سبساثرة.
ستمديجي خوامو وبساثرة أدقبزتشا.
ستمديجي. ستمديجي خوامو أدقبزتشا سبساثرة.
وخوي بسنشو وبسلنو أدقبزتشا.
نتا سخوش بسنشو ستمديجي أدقبزتشا سبساثرة.
It works. It works. You're doing great. You're doing great. Sarah.
Sejjanti.
ويانر حرببزتشا بساثرة.
أنت سي أنا حرببزتشا مبساتلا.
ويانر شبساثتشا حرببزتشا بسنشو حمر خوامو بساثرة.
سي أنا بسنشو حرببزتشا مبساتلا.
ويانر حرببزتشا بسنشو مبساثلة. ويانر حرببزتشا شبساثتشا تمامو بساثرة.
أنت See, أنا حربت تمام مبساطلة.
و псынщӏэу хьэмырыхуэму адыгэбзэкӏэ уопсалъэрэ?
سا خوامو أديكابزة سبساتلا.
Уатэмэму уопсалъэрэ адыгэбзэкӏэ?
تا سا أديكابزة تمامو سبساتلا رقم.
Хауэ, ар пцӏыщ. That's a lie. Уэ адыгэбзэкӏэ тэмэму уопсалъэ.
So I hope.
Упсэуж. When we say ар пцӏыщ, it means it's a lie, but it also means that's false. So when we say it, it's not like in English, like you're a liar. We could say it like that, but if we say like ар пцӏыщ, if we say it in a gentle form, like I did, it's like saying, that's not correct, that's wrong. And then you said, oh, I don't speak very well. So that word, it means lie, but it can be used in a good way, like a white lie, or like it's false, or it can be used in a negative way. But the way I used it was in a positive way. Ola, you have a question?
Yes, please. Why do you say hama sometimes and then you say hamra sometimes?
Because you can say it both ways. And at first I thought I would simplify it for you guys. And then I kept slipping and saying it the way I say it in my real life. And that's why I'm just going to change it to hamra. But that's 99% of the time you'll hear it as hamra.
Hamra? Okay.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. So, you know what we're going to do? We got 8 minutes left. I think we're going to fly by the breakout rooms. I know you guys like them, but I think this is a good use of our time as well. So we're building, you guys are absorbing lots of vocabulary very quickly, and that's very remarkable, right? So we went through I never speak. I never speak. Kitayibza. Sa sitimdeji sopsatha. Sa sitimdeji tamamu yinjilibzicha sopsatha. So think of what you guys, this is now, we're probably what? We're probably around 8 hours into this course. This is where you guys, we call this a manageable chunk in TPRS. Think of what you guys are all able to do. Every single one of you can make a statement similar to the one that I'm about to make. Every single one of you can do this, okay? Sa sitarjantish, sa adigash, sa. Now let's talk about the chunks. Sa sopsatha, sa kitayibzacha sopsatharkam, awa adigabzacha sopsatha, sa sitamdeji adigabzacha sopsatha, sa zazamiza psincho adigabzacha sopsatha. Sa zazamiza namitsibzacha sopsatha huamu awa sitimdeji sa yinjilibzacha sa shopsathacha psincho sopsatha. Is there anybody who did not understand something that I said? So that's how we're layering this. I kept telling you guys, we're like building these blocks. We're building cherbish adigabzacha. We're building the bricks. We're building the bricks by bricks. But now this is really the first class where I think you guys are experiencing it, right? And in the next class, we'll practice with this a little bit, but there's no reason that any single one of you couldn't tell me some little story about the language you speak and tell me how your mother or your father or your brother or your friend does it, or ask each of you in this class how they do it. Right? So we're now really getting able to use the language and do some fun stuff with it. So we got 5 minutes left. Let's just cover the last slide where we talk about, is this the last slide? Yeah. So I was giving you guys a sneak preview of this. And I was debating whether to keep this simpler or a little bit more advanced, but I decided I'd go not advanced, but teach you guys correctly. In Circassian, there's lots of prefixes that come before a verb. So the verb we've been working on is psathen, right? Psathen, all these things. Now, there is a prefix in front of these verbs. Sometimes it can be sh, sometimes it can be sho. It depends on the verb. Right now, it's sho. This prefix shows a time or a place. In Circassian, time and place are the same thing. So I guess, we're like Einstein. We're way ahead of our time. Time and place. Space and time are the same thing, right? So I gave you a little tiny preview of this when I said, when you speak in Circassian, wa adigebzacha washipsachacha washipsachacha. When you speak in the Circassian language, tamamu huamu psinchu tauk wapsachara, right? So all those things. So now what we're saying here, this is just kind of a sneak preview. We're not going to get a chance to get into it. The boy is speaking at the school. The boy is speaking at the school. And then if I were going to go to any of these, so again, teaching you more places, very, very common places. Yajapam, okay. Yajen is to learn, read, or study. Yajen is to learn, read, or study. One verb has all three meanings. When we add to the end of it, it's where we do it. Okay. So Yajapa, it's the place where we study. Okay. Shkapa, it's a cafe or a restaurant. It's where we eat. Shkin, shkapa. Kafapa, dance hall. Okay. Besin, a lot of native-born Circassians, they use this word, it's swimming pool. Yasipa, yasin is to swim. So the place where you swim, yasipa. So in this case, yajapa, yajapa. Shalar yajapam shopsacha. Sawunam sishopsacha, sishopsacha. I am speaking at the home. Sa tequanam sishopsacha. I'm speaking at the store. Lejen is to work. Lejapa is your place of work. Sa lejapam sishopsacha. I'm speaking at work. Okay, so we'll go into this more, but once we build all of these, right, you could say, Sa yajapam sishopsacha adigabzacha. I speak Circassian at school. Sa yinjilibzacha sishopsacha. Sa lejapam sishopsacha. When I speak English, I speak it at work. Right? So we can start to build on all these building blocks. And guess what? As we go further in, right, the next word is going to be, the next verb we're going to cover once we cover this off is je'an, to say. So psacha is to speak. I'm speaking. Well, what am I saying? Je'an. Okay, and then if we think of shoji, shoji, wared je'a. Wared, song, je'a is saying a song. That's how we say sing. Wared je'a, right? And we're going to get comfortable. Now, these are different prefixes, right? But you can see, remember I told you a long time ago, the verb root is always the same, even if it's very short. So here, the verb root for je'an is just That's the verb root. Okay, so we'll get into this. And it looks very foreign, I know. But once we get a couple of these verbs under our belts, it'll feel very normal, very natural to you guys. Okay, so that's the formal end of the class. I'll stick around for 3 or 5 minutes for anybody who has questions, comments, concerns, feedback. Yes, you know.
If I want to say playground, would that be jaguapa?
Jaguapa.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what about chan?
So, dukan or dukan is an Arabic word. Mm-hmm. And when we adopt a lot of Arabic words as Eastern speakers of Circassian, a lot of the D's become T's. So tukan, tuchan became t, t. And then as natives Kabardian speaker or Circassian speakers, there really is no ch. There's no native sounds that have k all by itself. Okay. So in a lot of cases, what we do is we take that k and we make it kwa or cha, because kwa and cha are interchangeable.
Yeah, you've
right?
mentioned that.
So for example, my uncle will say duchan.
Yeah, that's what my dad
Duchan.
would say.
But then as it's been formalized, so your dad's is from Sharjas. So in Sharjas, there was not the formalistic teaching of Circassian in the schools. It really happened more in Qabarda. So as a result of that, you find more Kabardians from Qabarda with more formalization in their day-to-day speech. In Sharjas, there's actually a mix of a little bit of Abazakh, because the Abazakh people lived in what's now Qarashayevl Cherkessia, and a little bit of Qabarda. So as a result, there are people, for example, in Sharjas who will say tenna instead of dena.
Yeah.
My father grew up in Syria, but he says tenna washa'a instead of dena washa'a. So as you go further west, you see a lot of these little changes in the language, but duchan, tuquen, duchen, they're all acceptable. They're all just different pronunciations of the same word.
Okay, that makes sense. I got confused because it wasn't, because I know with the K and the Palachka, it's like interchange. The K and the Ch is interchangeable.
K and Ch are both changeable. Yeah. So for example, some of you have had classes with Hamid, a very good friend of mine. So he will say adigebzika, 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 adigebzika wupsachara. This is correct. I say adigebzika, also correct.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Questions, comments, vocabulary, phrases, pronunciation, entomology. Yes, Sarah.
What does quadu mean?
Quedu, a lot. Qued means many. Quedu means a lot.
Okay, whoopso.
Could be much as well. Quedu. Quedu, yeah, much. Yeah. So is. All right. Last chance. Going once, going twice, going thrice. All right. Class is officially over.